Yes. Have you? Very well. You have brushed the surface thoughts of another. It is a start. Calm yourself. This time, silence your own thoughts. Keep them still. Imagine the waters of the room of 1,000 fountains, each stream suddenly falling silent and still. Imagine the ice of Telos, cold and smooth as it gathers upon the plateau. Now, stretch out. Feel the ship around you. Strip away the metal and see the souls and minds of those that fill its corridors with more thoughts and dreams and worries than can fill the space of this ship.
As my feet walk from the ashes of Kotor, I shall not fear, for in fear lies death, and...
Switch the face of the +1 -1 card. The totals are 9-10. Switch the face of the +2 -2 card. The total is 8-11. Switch.
Your command echoes still, General, and I obey, as I did at Malachor.
As my feet walk from the ashes of Kotor,
Switch the face of the +1
I shall
-1
not
card.
fear,
The totals are 9-10.
for in fear
Switch the face of the +2
Your
lies
command
death.
echoes
card.
still,
The
General,
total is 8
and I obey,
Switch.
as I did at Malachor.
Not now. Focus on my voice.
Malachor.
Now do you hear me? Truly hear me. You have taken the first steps on a much longer road, exile. The droid cannot be read in such a way. As for the alien who served with you in the war, its thoughts are more difficult, requiring many translations in meaning. Often it is better to read their impulses and images than their spoken thoughts. That is why he is deaf to you. I have found his impulses are cold, like a dead weight. His thoughts are black. Indeed, it is strange that I did not. Perhaps I would not put much weight on such things. Of course there was. It is because Atten was not playing Berserk, yet he counts cards in his head. At times he will list off engine sequencers, memorize the hyperspace routes on the other side of the galaxy, count the ticking in the power couplings even though they are fixed. At other times, he will imagine certain base lusts, certain indignities. It may be Atten is far cleverer than he feigns to be. Or perhaps he is simply a fool. Ask. Atris herself is not as familiar to me as perhaps she should be. Yet I feel I know her, yes. Because Atris's path is one I walked long ago, and it is a chapter of my life that has been read and closed. She has taken the first steps, I think. We shall see. Surely you felt the righteous anger, the spoken judgments, the lack of forgiveness. I was a historian once, gathering the relics of the Jedi, learning the ancient mysteries. Always there were more questions. One quickly learns that the Jedi Code does not give all the answers. If you are to truly understand, then you will need the contrast, not adherence to a single idea. That is why Atris and the others blamed me, sentenced me. They believed me responsible for Revan's fall. You have already asked much. I do not wish to speak of this any longer. Yes. Very well. There is nothing more that I can teach you now. Wait until you have grown in the... Very well. Very well. Of which did you... Very well. The Jedi practice many... You may have already felt the Shicho that others make.
Something up?
Passes the time. It's better than listing off engine sequencers, memorizing hyperspace routes, or counting ticks in the power couplings. Why do I play Pazak? Good match. Now...
Right. And that's why I play Pazak in my head.
Because if you don't, you've left the door open, and anyone could... Of course you did. You see, Jedi, light or dark, do it, more often than you'd think. But I never heard one say they were sorry before.
Nothing. I'm just someone...
But while I'm doing that, it's a lot harder... No, I can only teach you to play...
I am able to serve. If we enter battle, I will fight and die alongside you. I have not heard that question in some time. My flesh is healed, if that's the answer you seek. I know, and I fear that others will see the mercy in your actions, and in my survival, and use it as a weapon to do you greater harm. I felt you, heard you through the Force. It was like a sound at the edge of hearing, and when I heard it, I found I could not ignore it. I serve my master. I am an emissary, a scout. My master was aware of a disturbance in the Force, but was unaware of its nature, of you. The disturbance is not something one feels from a living thing. There is little my master does not know, and that you eluded his sight for so long is significant, but I do not know why. You cannot. His vessel roams the borders of known space, and even I do not know where he travels, until he calls for me. Even if I could lead you to my master, I cannot permit you to find him until you are ready. If I bring you before my master, untested, without your potential realized, then you will be lost to me, and I cannot allow that to happen. It would be as if one brought fire to a paradise valley, shattered a cavern of rare crystal, or blinded a painter. I cannot, I will not. I would die first, and gladly, to preserve you, untouched, unharmed, now that I have found you. You will meet my master. It is inevitable. And when you stand before him and realize what you face, you must be prepared. Until then, I must protect you, help you. until you are ready. There's a greatness in you. A greatness that does not stem from the Force. It stems from who you are. And if my master does not understand you, cannot see you, then perhaps there is hope for us all. But if you seek to survive, there is much I see my master cannot. I fear it is because of my nature, the nature of my race. My people spend their lives seeing the galaxy, the energy streaming off stars, the growth of life, all things touched by the Force. It is not a subject which I have spoken of since its destruction. The Jedi, the last council of the Jedi, came to our world to meet in secret. They hoped that perhaps among our people, they could achieve the clarity to see what was striking them from the darkness of the galaxy. They succeeded, but only in bringing him from the outer regions. And Kotor, with my kind, with the Jedi upon its surface, could no longer be ignored. And my people died, and the Jedi died, and there was no one left, only me. He cannot deny his hunger for long, and any gathering of Jedi is something he cannot long resist. And now that the Jedi are vanishing, I do not know what will happen. Perhaps he will grow strong enough to eradicate all life, merely with his presence. They hoped to see the threat that had been stalking them, and they did. But they were unprepared for the magnitude of the threat. I will answer what I can. It is not a subject which I have spoken. The planet was not destroyed. It remains. It orbits, dead in space. But nothing lives on its surface. It echoes, but there's no one left to hear it. I've heard tales of Malachor. It is said that many of my people felt the end of the Mandalorian Wars from across the galaxy. But do not mistake me. I did not mean to draw comparisons between Kotor and Malachor. My homeworld still exists. It is intact. I am not certain I did. I was there when the planet died. To see everything around you extinguished, it was as if I was blinded. It was as if the Force had been bled from the world. I imagine there are worse deaths, worse pain. But if there are, I do not know them. I was the only living thing remaining on the planet of Kotor, and my life, my agony, was a flicker in the darkness that was the planet. All that I had been connected to had been severed. I still wonder what would have happened if I had died with the others. If perhaps there would have been some way to hide my presence from the galaxy. If only I had not felt that pain, that loss, as strongly as I did. But it could not be done. When the life was bled from the planet, and yet somehow I remained. My master came for me. He walked upon the surface of my dead world, and there, lying in the bodies of my race, he took me for his own, and he made me see. And for the first time I saw the galaxy, and I wished to die. To this galaxy, my world, absent the currents and spectrums of the Force, was nothing but crude matter, rock, flesh, emptiness. He showed the flickering of life on other planets. The mass of beings that swarm through the empty places of the galaxy. To see such creatures, disconnected from themselves, their world, their place in it, unable to see the currents and how they affected everything around them. He showed me to make me believe in his cause. He convinced me the galaxy, all life, must die. He fed upon its ugliness, its screaming, and in its place, he left silence. And where there was chaos, he brought stillness and order. It was not a thing done with machines or weapons. The Force is far more terrible, and it touches more lives than any machine can hope to slay. For everyone that feels the Force, strongly, deeply, each one feels and perceives it in their own way. You have strengths, whether you know it or not. And my master has his. His power is great, and it comes from hunger. He is a wound in the Force, more presence than flesh. And in his wake, life dies, sacrificing itself to his hunger. And those who feel the Force strongly are beacons to his hunger. My people, my planet, would have been attacked in time. It was inevitable. Yet we could do nothing about it. Forgive me, but before you go, I must ask. Why do you do this? Why do you seek to help me? Teach me. You must not do this. I cannot allow you to weaken yourself for me. So you say, but it is not something I have observed or seen. I remember little of my homeworld before I entered my master's service. It is not as it was. There is little left of such memories, or the planet itself. It is not a subject which I...
Yes, General? Just working on the ship. I'm not sure who got her up and running, but I'm amazed whoever made these repairs doesn't think like most mechanics. But don't worry.
The honor is mine.